what are you gonna do? Throw me out?
Get out of my face!
Competing on the challenge may seem like a dream, but did you know all the strict rules that contestants have to follow in order to appear on the show? We have to admit, getting paid to travel all over the world, party, and do wacky competitions sounds like the coolest job ever. But the challenge house isn't the rowdy vacation spot you might think it is. Contestants are living in isolation from their friends and family, with very little contact with the outside world, and face enormous pressure to win that coveted cash prize. On top of that, they face heavy fines or even a permanent banning from the show if they don't follow certain rules. No fighting. The challenge house can definitely get a little bit tense at times, but one of the longest standing rules is that fighting is never tolerated. The show always has security around to catch any altercation and make sure that everyone is safe. Contestants are usually removed after a physical altercation and booted off the show. However, recently, fans have noticed that MTV now edits out most of the drama and altercations that are filmed, and fights make up a much smaller component of the drama than before. Why is this? There's speculation that this is due to the networks merging with CBS, who has more of a family-friendly image. Drinking limit. The cast got so out of control with partying that for the up-and-coming season of the challenge Spies, Lies, and Allies, they were actually given a drinking limit for each night of the show. The method? Drinking tickets. Every night the contestants would get a certain amount of drinking tickets. Once you ran out of tickets, you couldn't have any more drinks for that night. According to veteran Corey Wharton, we kept on getting put on like punishment. It was wild this season. We were like kids at a carnival. Hopefully the cast is easier to manage with their new drinking guidelines. Prohibited items. Radios, books, and televisions are all considered contraband by producers and are not allowed inside the house. They don't want the contestants distracted by anything going on in the outside world during the competition. Production makes the rules very clear by sending out a list of all the items that are banned before any filming starts. Contestants do try to get around the contraband rule, and there are some consequences. All workout supplements must now be factory sealed, ever since Johnny Bananas was caught hiding contraband in protein containers. We have to imagine that without any entertainment, the time in the house must get boring after a while. Can't leak info. Leaks are taken very seriously by producers and have real-life consequences for the contestants who snitch. But leaks are a rare occurrence, because the cast understands that leaking spoilers only hurts them, because if ratings go down, then the show might not come back. According to co-creator Jonathan Murray, we do have fines and penalties that come into effect if they release information, and we have serious talks about it. No cell phones. Speaking of leaks, this is why cell phones are definitely not allowed inside the house, as producers don't want contestants to spill any exposing info about the upcoming season. Sneaking in a cell phone gets you a $25,000 fine. We're just gonna repeat that for you. $25,000. Yikes! Contestants have still tried to sneak phones in, if you can believe that. Because of this, they're all searched before they enter the house. A producer explained they literally try to hide phones in everything, like they'll cut the side of a jacket and put a phone in there. It's very funny. This is a change from earlier seasons when the challenge was even sponsored by T-Mobile at one point. No performance enhancers. Just like with the Olympics, it's very important that contestants aren't using anything to enhance their performance on the show. This is a physical competition after all. According to a producer, we have to know what's in everything. So if they have protein pills, if we don't know what it is, we won't let them take it in the house. We basically take almost everything unless it's a very familiar brand. They're so strict on the inspection that rule breakers are never caught, but we have to imagine that a contestant would get immediately disqualified if they were exposed for taking any enhancers. Paid per episode. Even if they don't win the season, contestants are still paid per episode, so everyone walks away from the show with at least something. Of course, the longer you stay in the season, the more money you make. If you win, you get a cash prize that can be as high as the 1 million range. Sometimes the cash prize is split between teammates, but usually it just goes to one victor. Not everyone is paid the same rate, with veterans and fan favorites usually getting paid a higher check than rookies. Some contestants, cough cough, Wes Donuts and Johnny Bananas, anyone, are even rewarded for having long-standing rivalries. Phone calls. Contestants are actually given the privilege of getting in touch with their friends and family, but it's on the producer's terms. They only get 2 10-minute phone calls a week. There also isn't that much privacy. Producers screen all of the contestants' calls to ensure that no secrets about the competition are leaked. Pay for booze. Even though the party scenes take up a considerable bulk of the show, the contestants still have to purchase their own alcohol whenever the cast goes out. According to challenge veteran Cara Maria, the bar isn't really an open bar, and they have a choice of wine, beer, and occasionally vodka. Producers are sneaky. They even dye the vodka blue so the contestants can't sneak it into water bottles. Confined to property. Castmates are not allowed to leave the property except when the cast goes out at night as a group. According to CT, there's very little escape. This makes for a lot of downtime, especially with no phones or television. The house must start to get a little claustrophobic, especially if you're usually stuck there all day. Back in earlier seasons, contestants used to get a day off. CT said they'd drop us off somewhere in town and be like, be back by 4 p.m. If you're not, you've got to find your own way back to the house. Unfortunately for newer contestants, the rules are much more rigid this time around, and castmates aren't really trusted to explore any of the locations on their own. Have to compete sober. Unsurprisingly, contestants are not allowed to compete while intoxicated, as this would, cause a lot of problems. The rules are a lot more strict now than when the series first started. Today, you'd probably get kicked off the show if you showed up inebriated. According to CT, we do these crazy stunts where we're hanging above a tall building in harnesses. You can't be doing that if you're intoxicated. The challenge used to be much more relaxed back in the day, and people take competing much more seriously, as the prize is so much larger in these later seasons. Can be banned. Yes, you can actually be permanently banned from MTV for poor behavior. One of the most popular players and 3-time champ, Camila Nakagawa, was banned after one too many wild incidents over the seasons. According to her Rivals 2 partner Jemmy, Camila punched a PA after being told to get ready for an interview. She also stole a golf cart and tried to drive it into traffic, so maybe the ban is a good thing after all. Constant filming. If you would ever want a break from all the drama, you're not in much luck. Challenge producers make sure that everything is filmed. Whether you're competing or at home, everything is sure to be caught on camera. This makes sense as producers want to make sure they have access to every juicy detail that can be used to boost ratings. Short notice. If you're cast on the challenge, it's expected that you'll arrive basically as soon as the producers tell you to come. Very few know months in advance. According to Champ CT, some people get the call a week before, some people will get the call while we're filming. COVID testing. They were allowed to film during COVID, but there were definitely extra rules set in place by producers to make sure that everyone stayed safe. Everyone, meaning the cast and crew, had to receive a negative COVID test before entering the house. But once they were in the house, everyone could act normal. They just had to get tested every 3 days, which added up to 3,000 tests over the course of filming. What do you think of these challenge rules? Do you think they're too strict, or are the producers fair in requesting certain things? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to like and subscribe to The Things Reality to stay up to date on all of the latest and greatest in reality TV news.